Hearing.
That's you, Chuck.
Call the public hearing. Begin.
No, where's that on here, though?
I know, I don't see that on. Is it any later? Is that what it is? Okay.
No. We should on the,
Is it different on the? Well.
Okay.
So
Sorry,
we'll
Linda.
So we'll call this meeting to order. Roll call?
Mrs. Anderson.
Here.
Mrs. Farragut.
Here.
Mrs. Savick.
Here.
Mrs. Dexter. And Mrs. Duff.
Okay, and we'll go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as submitted?
Motion?
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, then I have a motion of approval of minutes of the June 11th, 2026 regular meeting.
Motion?
Second? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, superintendent's report.
thank you, Clerk Anderson. We just have a brief update for you on upcoming events as we move closer to the beginning of the school year. New staff induction will be coming up the week, Wednesday, July 22nd. Welcome back celebration that following week. Looking forward to seeing our board members there and meet the teacher night. You can see we're also on that night doing the ribbon cutting for Levine Traditional Academy. So that will be a celebration. First day of school on August 3rd, and our next board meeting will be August 13th.
Great, thank you. Okay, so then we need to have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion.
Second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Make this motion, maybe just say budget adoption for fiscal year 27,
Yeah.
along with the budget hearing.
Okay.
Let me say that part.
Okay, and with that, we will go to our first board consideration action of the budget adoption for full academic year 27. Is that? Yes, so that's Charlie.
All right, good evening, President Abeg, members of the board, and Dr. Sprout. Tonight I'll be presenting our fiscal year 2027 budget and truth in taxation hearing. The budget that's attached to the agenda tonight is identical, all the numbers are identical to what we looked at last month with our proposed budget, but we'll have a little bit more detail tonight and some time for discussion and any public comment. Before jumping into the slides, I want to say a big thank you to our Executive Director of Finance, Ashley Miranda, and the entire business office for all of their work to make this budget possible. Jumping right into our fiscal year 2027 budget, state law defines specific processes that we follow for adopting school district budgets each year. Tonight, we're adopting the budget, which is required to be done by July 15th each year. And one thing that has changed since we met last month is that the state budget had not yet passed at our last board meeting when the budget was proposed. That has now happened, and fortunately, what was actually included in the state budget lines up really well with the assumptions in our district budget, and so we can go forward with a lot of confidence. I'll start with a quick overview of what our major fund budgets look like. So our maintenance and operations fund budget will be $78.1 million this year. Our unrestricted capital fund budget will be $26.2 million. And one thing I want to highlight here is this is our total budget capacity, including carry forward balance from previous years. So our actual spending from these funds will be lower than these numbers, and we will preserve financial reserves for future years as we have in the past. Next, I want to highlight a few of the changes notable changes that impacted our maintenance and operations fund budget this year. The biggest factors that go into the change in our budget each year are typically changes in the state funding formula, inflation adjustments, and changes in student enrollment, student growth, and that's been the case this year as well. This next slide shows what our average daily membership, which is the measure of student enrollment that's used in the state funding formula, has been for the last 10 years. And the last value on this chart is our projected average daily membership for fiscal year 2027. So we've projected a 2% increase, and that lines up really well with the historical trend and the growth that we've seen in the district. This next slide shows what our maintenance and operations budget has been for the last 10 years with some color coding to separate carry forward balance from the annual revenues that go into the budget, just to show how those two components combine to make up our total capacity. I also want to highlight the changes that have impacted our unrestricted capital fund budget for this year. Our annual revenues into our unrestricted capital fund increased by about $500,000 due to our continued enrollment growth going into fiscal year 2027. Our total budget capacity, though, is a little bit lower than it has been in the past, and that's because some of the money that we'd put aside in previous years for large capital projects has started to be put into use for the many construction projects that you'll see around the district. This next slide highlights what that looks like, with the green portion of the unrestricted capital budget bar representing carry forward balance, and that being a little bit smaller this year than it's been in the past as we've spent some of those reserves. One other fund that I'd like to highlight going into fiscal year 2027 is the classroom site fund. This is where the district's revenues from the 0.6 cent sales tax for education and funding from the state land trust is deposited. The per pupil allocation to the classroom site fund goes up by $41 for fiscal year 2027. And with that additional revenue, we'll be able to continue to fund 16% of teacher salaries from the classroom site fund. Going back a few more years, we funded a smaller percentage of teacher salaries from this fund. We raised it for a few years, and we're now at a point where the share of salaries being funded from the classroom site fund lines up nicely with the annual revenue in the fund. And as teacher salaries increase and our funding increases, we're able to stay right at that 16%. Speaking of teacher salaries, I also want to highlight that our starting teacher salary is increased to $58,927 for fiscal year 2027. And that number excludes up to $4,450 in performance pay and also stipends that apply to certain hard-to-fill positions like special education and middle school science. Overall, our average teacher salary is projected to be over $76,000 this year, and that will keep us among the highest paying school districts in the state. Finally, I mentioned that we keep an eye on our financial reserves, and the fiscal year 2027 budget includes preserving unassigned fund balance of $19 million, which is about 20% of operating expenditures in the budget. and total fund balance that could support our operations of about $40 million, which would be 43% of operating expenditures. The difference between those two numbers is the unassigned fund balance is money that could be used for almost anything that we spend money on each year. The total fund balance includes some funds that have certain limitations, like maybe only being available to pay teacher salaries, but ultimately provide additional financial stability within our budget. I'll transition now from the budget to the truth in taxation hearing. And state law specifies certain requirements for the taxation portion of school district budgets. Any time that an adjacent ways levy is included in a budget, the truth in taxation process is required. Our adjacent ways levy this year will be $1.1 million, and we published the required truth in taxation notice in the Arizona Republic on June 25th. This next slide shows the tax rate that'll be needed to generate that $1.1 million. It'll be 0.24, which is slightly lower than what our adjacent ways tax rate was for the prior fiscal year. This slide shows not only the tax rate comparison from year to year, but also the total levy comparison and what that tax rate would be per $100,000 of home value. One thing to keep in mind is the truth in taxation hearing, we're focused on the adjacent ways levy because that's the only tax rate that's subject to this hearing. But that's actually a very small part of our overall tax rate as a district. It's part of our primary tax rate. And so I also want to show what our overall tax rate looks like as a district. This next slide shows over the last 10 years what our tax rates have been in Levine, and our total tax rate, which includes our bonds, overrides, and primary tax rate, has gone down year over year, and that's thanks to the continued construction in Levine, the addition of commercial property, and appreciation in property values in the district. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have about our budget or the truth in taxation hearing and address any comments or questions from the public.
All right, any discussion or questions from the board or the public?
I don't have any questions, just appreciate the work that it takes everybody to get it all done and to, wait for our legislature to get finished and hope that it doesn't change a lot is always a little bit of a nail-biting adventure. But thank you for your work. Ashley, thank you for your work and your entire team. And I appreciate the slides included. I don't remember if they've been in other years, maybe they have, but I do appreciate seeing, the budget balance carry forward compared to new capacity, the total tax rate slide I also appreciate. So thanks for including those.
Thank you.
Great. Any other questions? All right, thank you, Charlie. All right, so now we need to do an action to approve. I need a motion to approve the full academic year 2027 budget as presented.
Motion?
Okay. Second, any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and now we have the item on the 26-27 Student and Family Handbook. Is it just an approval?
We did a complete update of our Student and Family Handbook. I want to thank Sarah for overseeing that. And it includes a standardized discipline matrix, but everything our family that is new to the handbook, but it is completely updated. It looks beautiful and will be a go-to for our parents and also for our students and families. Great work.
All right, so the governing board needs to approve the 26-27 Student and Family Handbook. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, any comments from the board?
Have an enjoyable last few weeks of summer. It's quite, maybe it'll cool off. Is it going to cool off?
No.
No. Find a pool.
All right.
I don't know, I'm very confident that I didn't acknowledge something that was on the agenda in the consent agenda, and that is the hiring of a temporary principal, Marianne Lesher,
Oh.
who will be helping to support
Yeah.
at Australia Foothills Global Academy. It's our tradition to let the board, to remind everyone after that announcement. She starts on
Monday, July 20th.
Monday,
Cool.
July 20th, and very, very highly qualified, decorated
Great.
administrator who just retired from Kyrie.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Great. All right, yeah, enjoy the rest of your summer break and looking forward to the start of the new school year. There's no call to public. We have a regular meeting of the governing board held August 13th here at 5:30 in the Levine Education Center. And I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.